Welcome back to Exercise Physiology on Catalyst University. My name is Kevin Tokoph. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for future videos and notifications. In this video, we're going to go over a very important topic in exercise physiology, one that you may have seen in anatomy or physiology, and that's the topic of muscle fiber or motor unit recruitment. And the basic idea here is that there's a certain sequential order that particular muscle fiber types are activated when you want to lift a load of a certain weight. Okay, so for example, we've got several muscle fiber types that are listed here. Some of the names might be a little bit foreign to you, but I guarantee you've heard of them. We have the slow muscle fiber type, or slow oxidative, or type 1 muscle fiber type. That's what these are right here. We also have fast fatigue resistant muscle fibers. These are also called fast oxidative or type 2A muscle fibers. They're your intermediate muscle fiber types that have intermediate power and also intermediate fatigue resistance. At the top here we have our fast-fatiguable, also called fast glycolytic, and type 2X muscle fibers. These are the ones that generate a lot of power and fatigue quickly, whereas at the bottom the slow type 1 use oxidative metabolism, have low power, and are very fatigue resistant. And the key point here, the first key point, is that regardless of the load being moved, slow fibers, these ones at the top, or type 1 muscle fibers, they are always recruited first. And if you need to use any of the other muscle fiber types to lift a heavier load, you still have to go in sequential order and activate the slow motor unit or muscle fibers first. All right, so we're going to kind of explain this graph one step at a time, and to do so, we're going to have a qualitative look at exercise intensity, or the amount of force we need to produce, by looking at different dumbbells with different weights. So first of all, we have our light weight, which is the 10-pound dumbbell. Intermediate is 25 pounds, and the heaviest is going to be 45 pounds. All right, so if we're lifting the 10-pound dumbbell, hopefully you understand that if we compare that to a 5-pound dumbbell, okay, a 5-pound dumbbell, the 10-pound dumbbell is going to require us to activate more motor units than the 5-pound dumbbell because we're lifting more weight. So the more force you need to generate by a muscle, the more motor units need to be recruited. Hopefully that makes sense. But in either case, the 5 or the 10-pound dumbbell, which we see right here, the slow type 1 muscle fibers are going to be more than sufficient to lift that. And there is no need to activate these other muscle fiber types if all we're doing is lifting that 10-pound dumbbell for our example. And we can imagine a bicep curl. Now, if we start lifting more and more weight, maybe 15 pounds, we might actually activate the maximum number of slow type 1 motor units to the point where we've activated all of them, because there's a finite number of slow motor units and slow muscle fibers. It's a finite number. And if we ever get to the point where we activate all of them, there's no more to activate. And so there's a maximum amount of force that the slow muscle fibers can generate. And so that's what this blue line plateauing represents, which is for the slow. There's a maximum amount of force that collectively all of the slow muscle fibers can actually generate. And if you want to actually produce any more force beyond that, you actually have to go beyond and activate another muscle fiber type to augment what's already been produced by the slow muscle fibers. Okay? So now let's consider the intermediate weight, 25 pounds. We're now going to bicep curl that up. So if I want to lift the 25 pounds, I think it's evident to you that the slow muscle fiber types are not going to be sufficient. I'm going to have to add some on to generate the force, okay? And the next, you could say the next link in the chain, or the next step in the process, is to activate the fast fatigue resistant muscle fibers, or the type 2A muscle fibers, okay? So if I need to lift 25 pounds, the added force beyond what the slow fibers can produce is going to be given by the fast fatigue resistant, or 2A muscle fibers. And if I needed to lift 30 pounds, again, I'm going to have to use some fast fatigue resistant, and I'm going to have to use more of those than I would for 25. But for 30 pounds, most likely in this example, the fast fatigue resistant 2A is going to be sufficient. Now, again, as in the case of the slow muscle fibers, there is a finite number of fast fatigue resistant motor units and muscle fibers. There's a finite number of them, and so there's a maximum amount of force that the fast fatigue resistance can generate. So this plateau of them represents that maximum amount of force they can generate. And if I was, say, going to lift the 45-pound dumbbell and I needed to generate more force beyond what the combination of the slow and fast fatigue-resistant muscle fibers could generate, I'm going to have to add on another type of muscle fiber to further augment the force production beyond what, again, type 1, slow, and 2A, fast fatigue-resistant muscle fibers are going to be able to generate. And the solution is to activate these, which are fast fatigable, also known as fast glycolytic or type 2X. Okay? And so if I'm going to lift the 45-pound dumbbell, obviously only the slow is not going to be sufficient. Even the combination of the slow and fast fatigue resistant is not going to be sufficient. I have to activate some percentage of those type 2X fast fatigable muscle fibers. And it's not going to be all of them, but it'll be some percentage of them. And again, there's going to be a plateau of even those. There's going to be a maximum that those maximum force that those muscle fibers will be able to generate. But unfortunately, there's really no muscle fibers beyond that we can recruit to augment this. So for really for all intents and purposes, for anything we're going to study, this is the last link in the chain, the fast fatigable, the type 2X. You don't go beyond that. But this brings up a very important point. First of all, the motor unit recruitment or muscle fiber recruitment is always sequential and in the same order. If I want to lift this 45-pound dumbbell, the slow muscle fibers type 1 are always recruited first, followed by the fast fatigue resistant and then the fast fatigable 2X. It's always in that order. If I go to lift the 45-pound dumbbell, my muscles will never start by activating the fast fatigable first. It has to build its way up. It's sort of like you have to crawl before you can stand and stand before you can walk, right? It has to go in a sequential order. Another thing that comes out of this is the body does not waste energy. The body's going to be, in skeletal muscles, are going to be as energy efficient as possible. And so the body's only going to activate as many motor units as it deems necessary. So for example, if I'm lifting the 10-pound dumbbell, we already said that the slow fibers are going to be more than sufficient to lift the 10-pound dumbbell in this example. There is absolutely no reason to activate either the 2A or 2X muscle fibers. No reason whatsoever. Remember, if I wanted to activate a muscle fiber or a motor unit, I have to waste ATP. I have to burn ATP because all of the events that occur with the cross-bridge cycle and action potentials and all that all requires ATP. Why would the body want to waste a bunch of ATP if it doesn't need these two muscle fiber types or motor unit types? All it needs for the 10-pound dumbbell is the slow, so it's not going to waste anything on these two types. Likewise, by the same argument, if I wanted to lift the 25-pound dumbbell, yes, I'm going to have to activate the slow and the fast fatigue-resistant muscle fibers, but there's no reason to activate the 2X fast fatigable. No reason whatsoever. Because the fast fatigue-resistant, on top of what's already produced by the slow muscle fibers, produce enough force and it's sufficient enough to lift a 25-pound dumbbell. It's only when I get to a weight that I'm lifting, such as 45 pounds in this example, that I'm actually going to have to activate all three of them, but again, it's going to be in that sequential order. Slow, fast fatigue-resistant, fast fatigable. In other words, type 1, type 2A, type 2X. So the body is not going to waste energy. It's going to be as energy efficient as possible and only activate what it needs to. All right. So again, in conclusion to this video, again, it might be overkill, but it's very, very important you understand this. One, the fibers are going to be recruited in sequential order, and it's always going to be that order. And again, kind of this along the same lines, number 2, it's always going to be slow, type 1, and then fast fatigue resistant, 2A, and then fast fatigable, 2X, okay? And if you really want another analogy beyond this, it's sort of like if you know you're going to have to lift a 50, 60-pound dumbbell in this example, your body's going to say, well, the slow fibers, that's not sufficient. So let me activate the fast fatigue resistant fibers, again, not sufficient. So it's going to have to go even further to the fast fatigable muscle fibers, and then it's going to be sufficient in order to move the weight. All right? Hopefully this video made sense. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for future videos and notifications. Thank you.